Kia ora and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Joe.
I'm Luke.
And this is Throwing Hands by Small Gods.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I just couldn't wait to have a swig of it then. I normally would have cheers first, but it's a pretty smashable beer, this one.
Yeah, what is it?
It's a question I've heard a lot since released it a few weeks ago. You probably know by now that Small Gods is us, with our good friend Matt. And we like brewing all kinds of unusual one-off beers. We've never repeated a beer. I think we've done about 60 different beers now.
Wow. It was 59 last time.
And this is a beer style that I just read about. I was reading about some beer history, and I read about Safe Beer, which was the beer of Antwerp for hundreds of years, until the 1800s, when Pilsners came along and sort of took over, and it just became extinct, like so many of these wonderful regional European beer styles. Things like Kolsch and Altbier and RS Dry Stout, and things that we've seen a bit of a resurgence of in recent years, but not Safe Beer. Nobody's really brewed Safe Beer for a couple hundred years, except for I found one brewery in Antwerp that started brewing it again about 9 years ago. But apart from that, I believe this is the first Safe Beer ever to be brewed outside of Antwerp.
Wow, what a title.
Is this going to be 10 minutes of me just waffling on and you going, wow, Luke, wow, I've never heard that before.
It's like there might be like 4 people in the world impressed by the fact that we've brewed the first Safe Beer outside of Antwerp.
Yeah,
and they might be watching this video, which would be cool.
Yeah. Hi fans. A Safe Beer is I suppose it's a style of its own. So it's most similar to a Belgian blonde ale in a way. It's made with a lot of buckwheat and a bit of rye, and we use Hallertau middle through hops in there, and a relatively clean yeast profile to result in a pretty smashable beer.
Yeah, I haven't had many beers made with buckwheat, so I didn't really know what to expect. I was expecting that kind of light spice the rye often gives, but yeah, the mouthfeel created by the buckwheat is quite something. Like when I first had this beer, I thought, like, is Safe Beer a gelatin style, or? Yeah. It was like really mouth coating, really kind of just a little bit thicker without being like sweet. Yeah,
it's pretty unique. I suppose it's a similar sort of job to like oats, but it's very unique. It's not like velvety.
Yeah, oats give a lot of sweetness as well. Really great ingredient to brew with.
Buckwheat in beers, and like a lot of those sort of historic styles, it's smashable. It is, this is what everyone drank. You go into a pub in Antwerp for centuries, you would just ask for a beer, and you got a beer that tasted probably a bit like this. There wouldn't have been lots of taps and lots of different styles and variety and options. It just was a beer, please.
That's way better.
And the name is kind of simple. Like, as often when me and Matt are discussing ideas and names, we just come up with it and we're like, oh, isn't that obvious? Like, wouldn't? But anyway, in the middle of Antwerp, there's the Brabo Fountain in the Grand Square, and it's a statue of a bloke throwing a really big hand, and that's Brabo, who was a hero, because before Antwerp was even a city, it was a place of trading, and people that wanted to pass the river had to pay a toll to the giant. And if they didn't pay a toll, the giant, Antigoon, drawn Antigoon, chopped your hand off and lobbed it in the river. And then the hero came along, Brabo, and he chopped off the giant's hand. And then everyone was really happy and rejoiced. And in Old Dutch, to throw a hand is Antwerpen. So Antwerpen, throwing hands. So that's where the name Antwerp comes from, kind of obviously.
Wow.
So I had a lot of fun. I came up with this label along the time I was doing the rebrand for the Small Gods Tap Room, and I was really into sort of like contrast and black and white. You may have seen the Small Gods Tap Room, the two faces that I did for that. I was just imagining another option for a statue in the town square that would just be a massive hand, just like a sort of Jeff Koons type sculpture, or Anish Kapoor, or just a huge modern art sculpture of a big giant's hand in the town square.
Awesome.
But good all round, probably good with food, right?
Yeah, it would be. It's it's a beer for pretty much every occasion.
Yeah.
If anything's sort of shining, it's definitely that malt character. You got sort of lovely layers through the beer,
Yep.
like light bit of chocolate, a lot of biscuit, bit of caramel, bit of toffee, almost like slightly crackery at the start as well. Yeah, rye, so a little bit brown bready. So yeah, anything you enjoy, sort of a non-super crisp beer, I would say this goes perfectly with.
And it is a beer I was going to say I could drink a lot of, but I have drank a lot of it. We've had it on tap here at the tap room, and it's just been so good. And it's been cool that it's like a beer for everyone. Like, we're getting more people coming here that aren't necessarily beer nerds for things like the quiz. So just all around us is the quiz setting up, so we do need to finish soon. And just like people at Run Club and...
Because it doesn't taste like Spades, but it doesn't not taste like Spades for those people, you know?
Yeah, like really good space.
Like, it doesn't taste like a delicious, like, dark mild.
Yeah.
Or a bitter, or, you know, a pale ale. But it also isn't so far from all of those things that it's just so approachable, no matter kind of what your favorite beer is. Maybe other than a super light, crisp lager.
Yeah.
This will tick the box, you know?
Yeah, a good, like, just everyday drinking beer, but also, you know, if you like to think a little bit more about your beers, then there's just a lot to delve into and enjoy.
Yeah.
And we're going to wrap up now. One last bit of news is that Joe just launched the Hazy Drop online.
Yeah, the Hazy Drop.
Find that on the website. Lots of great
hazy
hazy beers. Yeah.
Delicious.
Delicious. Fresh hazy beers. All right, I'm going to call it a day. Anything to add?
Not from me.
Thanks for joining us. Cheers, Joe.
Cheers. Wow. I much prefer safe beer than you.
Wow.